Good morning and welcome to Sunday School. We are working our way through the Old Testament of the Bible. We're learning some of the stories that are in the beginning of the Old Testament. So these are all stories that happened before Jesus was born. Our story today is about a set of twins. These are twin boys. One of them was very loud. One of them was very quiet. One of them was really big. One of them was tall. One of them liked to hunt and the other liked to farm. One of them was honest and the other brother was a little bit tricky. The story is called Isaac's Blessing, and it is about twins named Jacob and Esau. Rebekah and Isaac asked God for a child. God gave them not one baby but two, twins. Kick, jab. Rebekah could feel the babies pushing and pulling on each other inside of her. God, she prayed, why are my babies fighting? They're in a race to be born first, God answered. Your family will be different. Your younger son will be the leader of the older one. This was a surprise to Rebekah. The oldest child was usually the leader of all of the brothers and sisters. Esau was born first. He was hairy and red. Jacob was born next. He had smooth skin. The race was so close that Jacob was born holding onto Esau's foot. Before long, the twins grew into men. They were very different. Esau was big and strong. Esau made Isaac very proud because he was a hunter. Jacob was smaller than Esau and very quiet. Rebekah loved that Jacob stayed around the home. When Isaac became old and blind, it was time to give his blessing to the oldest child, passing on the leadership of the family. Since Isaac couldn't see, he rubbed Esau's hairy arms just to make sure he had the right son. Esau, he said, bring me dinner and I will bless you. Rebekah was listening. Jacob, she whispered, hurry. Cover your arms with the hairy goat skins and fool your father. Rebekah remembered that God said Jacob would make a better leader for the family than Esau. So Jacob dressed up like Esau and brought Isaac dinner. The plan worked. Jacob tricked Isaac into making him the new leader of the family. I told you one of those brothers was a little bit trickier than the other one. Now, Jacob and Esau, both of them had great qualities about them. And maybe Jacob was going to be a great leader. Maybe Esau was going to be a great leader, but one of them was just a little bit tricky. And what I think is important to know about this story is that sometimes we will do things that might be a little tricky. Sometimes we do things that may not be the right thing to do. But God forgives us and God will always give us a blessing. Now, I want us to start with a game. So you'll have to find some people in your family to play this game with, but it's called Blind Man's Bluff. And if you remember, the father in the story, when he got really old, he was blind. And so for this game, it'll be a little bit like tag, except the person that's it will have to have a blindfold around their eyes so that they are blind. Now, what you're going to do is, it's probably best to do this outside in a yard where you have plenty of room to run around and you won't run into something. But one person will be it, and you put your blindfold on, and the other people will run around, and the person who is it will yell, stop. And everyone will stop and freeze, and then the person who's it, who's wearing the blindfold, has to find and tag one of the people that has been running around. Now, they can be sneaky and they can kind of tiptoe around after you yell stop or freeze, or they might be sneaky and they might make a noise so that it sounds like they're somewhere, and then the person that's it gets tricked and goes after them without actually getting them. But the first person that gets tagged by the person that is it gets to wear the blindfold for the next round. So if you can, play this game with your family and then join me back here and we'll do a quick activity. Thanks. Welcome back. I hope you had fun playing that game and you got to get a little bit of energy out running around and chasing each other blindfolded. Now this game reminds me of the story, not just because you got to pretend like you were blind when you were blindfolded in it, but also because there was a lot of chasing in it. And in this story, when we're thinking about the twin brothers, they did some chasing. Jacob was chasing Esau out of his mother's womb when he was born. And then Jacob was chasing after the blessing that his dad was going to give to Esau. So Jacob spent his time chasing after either what his brother had or chasing after his brother. Now this blessing that their dad gave to Jacob was actually something very special back then. A long, long time ago, the blessing that was passed down was a blessing that meant that you were the leader of the family. And so this was something very special that Jacob ended up getting. And so the activity I wanted us to do is to create blessing cards to send to people. Now, we've had a couple of our friends in Sunday school do some different mailings and sending cards to different people. I know our boys have gotten a couple of cards from some friends in Sunday school, and it always feels great to get something special in the mail. And so to make blessing cards, there's not really much that you need. You could get paper. If you have some actual cards, you could get them. I have these really cool little note cards that even have a little Bible verse on the top. And so what I thought I would do is write out a little blessing and then I'll send it to some friends. I have one that I've already finished. This is gonna go to my friend Susie. She has been sick. Not sick with the coronavirus, but sick with something else for the last few months. And I think that this blessing card will really make her feel good. And so when you're done watching this video, I encourage you to think of a couple different people who would really love to receive a blessing from you. Now, I wanted to finish today, before we say our closing prayer, by sharing our Bible verse. And so our verse today says, "And I have blessed him, yes, and blessed he shall be." And this verse is the perfect reminder for us that it doesn't matter who we are, it doesn't matter what happens, we will always be blessed. God will always continue to bless us. All right, let's close out in a prayer. Loving God, we thank you so much for the many blessings that you give to us. Help us to bless others in return. Amen.